teaming up with the scientist/engineering people who'd survived inside the facility, we realized that the Breen who were aboard were as cut off as we were. We stuck with them, sneaking as best we could our way toward the lab facility after power was restored. However, in the lab, stealth was not an option, and we ended up engaging in a protracted firefight in which several people were wounded, but fortunately nobody was killed. In the course of this firefight, one of the Breen removed his helmet and revealed that he was at least appeared human. We have reason to suspect otherwise, but appeared human.
Did y'all do a scan on him, or did y'all get a chance to? I know he ran away, but did you guys get a chance to do a scan?
No, I believe he judo kicked our counselor and then made a dash for it.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that now. He's like, "Fuck this, I'm out."
Damn,
I'm shame I missed it. Sounds great.
He was fiddling with buttons in a way that I do not understand, but he was about to be captured or seriously talked to. However, he managed to, as was just pointed out, dive away into a Jeffries tube and escape at great speed before we've polished off the rest of the Breen. Then we managed to secure the artifact, for want of a better word, even though it appears to be entirely a recent construction, that was behind the quantum mechanic shenanigans. We have safely extracted it, returned the station to normalcy, and we have taken it aboard our ship. However, some members of the crew are having interesting experiences with memories that don't quite make sense, sensations that aren't necessarily quite real, and the crew have been having a number of different reactions to this. That pretty much takes us to where we currently are.
And it is also important to specify that it's not the entire away team. It is just the select, 3 or 4 people. So.
And as I understand it, we remember none of this?
No, you guys got knocked out with some kind of pulse when they were plugging in the quantum technology into the science lab to try to presumably to try to bring their ship back, the Breen ship. They basically did something that knocked. Everybody had to roll for a relatively, I would say, moderate difficulty Constitution check to see if they could stay up, and I think. Conveniently enough, your characters did not stay conscious during it. So you guys were knocked out, and that's why you guys are this is 10 days later. You guys have been briefed and woken up and everything like that. So,
sweet.
Yeah. All right. Let me make sure YouTube is being good. OBS is telling me that it died. Okay, it's fine. It's a false flag. Anyway, so. I'm going to start, like I said, it's about 10 days later. You guys are on the ship, the USS Marathon. That quantum device has been taken off to some science lab somewhere to do a lot of research on it. So you guys don't have to really worry about that at the moment. That was just a plot device anyway. But I'm going to go ahead and read you guys the captain's log from Captain Hokada. Captain's log, stardate 79761.2. The return of a faction practicing illegal genetic engineering has rattled Starfleet Command. While we are certain the Breen Confederation has been compromised, we don't yet know the full extent. Whether or not the Federation has been infiltrated is unknown, but an air of suspicion has descended upon the Starfleet Security and Intelligence Divisions. They have begun internal investigations to determine who amongst the brass at the nearby starbases may be genetic copies. So far, nothing has been discovered. We have departed Starbase 105 with new orders. Dirkist, the same independently operated mining facility that sent an encrypted signal to the BCS Doth, has suddenly gone dark. Starfleet intelligence has intercepted an ominous message sent by the mining foreman. In it, the Romulan appeared mad, as if suffering from some form of delirium. With flames roaring in the background, he shouted, "We are not ourselves," before venting the mining station's the mining station's artificial atmosphere into the thin, unforgiving Class Y hellscape environment. Yeah.
Oh my god.
As we are
Nice.
as we are the closest starship, the Klingons and the Romulans have given us permission to cross through their territory to investigate. I have a bad feeling about what we might find there. So, I'm going to go ahead before I continue and remind you guys of a couple things, especially the new players. So at the very bottom of the character sheets, you'll see where it says cheat sheets, and that just has a bunch of handouts for you guys if you need to understand more about how to improve the odds or roll tasks and things like that. Normally I usually go real slow through, especially when we have new players, real slow through the process. But the last two episodes, the last two sessions, because we only had, I think, 2 new players, I kind of forgot about that, to be honest, and I just kind of went through the story, and I do apologize for that. But if you do need any explanation about anything, if I go too fast, just stop me and let me know, and I'll be happy to explain it and clarify things. At the top of the same character sheet section on Roll20, you'll see the directives. This session's directives, always prime directive, is always in effect. Investigate the Dirakist mining outpost. Protect the Federation and Romulan Republic from infiltration by genetically engineered life forms, and protect Federation and Romulan citizens from harm. And then above that, there's a folder called Scan Results Handouts. You don't need to open that and read that until I specifically, tell you guys to, because if you fail a scan, then you're not going to need to read it anyway. I'll probably just delete it, but I put it there mainly so that whenever, let's say for example, Vosky runs a sensor scan, I can be like, okay, Vosky, just open the first handout, and that's what you find, so that I don't have to recite it to you, and then you have to recite it to the crew, who then recites it to the captain, who then recites it back to someone else. Like, you can basically just recite it to your captain or the crew, and it's kind of more fluid, I think, that way. But if it ever gets to, if you see at the bottom where it says spending momentum to obtain information of achieving more than 2 successes could reveal additional details, then you can do that. You can spend momentum, and then I can give you more information, but that will be the information, the bits at the top are the information that you get from the initial roll. And I will, as I said before, I will go through it and tell you what the roll is, what's the difficulty, etc., etc., etc. And below, oh wait, no, that's it. I did add a shuttlecraft character sheet because you might need it. We'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me go and mess with my volume a bit here. Okay. So, that was the captain's log. You guys are on your mission to investigate Dirakist mining colony. You guys have been informed by your captain, as well as others, that the Breen have been infiltrated by non-Breen military and espionage personnel from an unknown faction, but it's basically, because of what's going on, the Klingons and the Romulans are like, yeah, sure, go through our space so you can figure out what's going on. And being so far in the future in 2402, there isn't such animosity between the 3 species as there was in the past. Your ship arrives at Dirakist Mining Colony, an independently operated facility on the border of unexplored space. In its heyday, Dirakist was an important base to the Romulan Republic's expansion, but now it sits in one of the outermost frontier regions, all but forgotten. Only outcasts, refugees, and soldiers who have fallen out of favor with their superiors find themselves at this neglected outpost. And I'll take you guys to the map so you can see where you have gone. Alright, so if you start at the very top and just scroll down a little bit, you'll see your ship, and it's arriving at Dirakist there. It's really hard to say. I was thinking about taking out the S or something, but it's too late now. You guys, if you scroll all the way down to Starbase 105, that's where you guys came from. So you had to literally cross Klingon space and parts of Romulan space to get there. So you guys are arriving outside of the solar system. I'm going to, being the captain is the captain, I'm going to have her give kind of the first orders, and she's going to assist whoever she orders to do something with her direct ability. And then from there, I'll let Lieutenant Colonel Lex, being the acting executive officer / chief engineer, decide what he wants to do next. So she is going to order Lieutenant Vosky to run a scan of the solar system. That'll be a difficulty 0 roll. So basically, as long as you don't get any complications, you'll be able to open up that sensor scan handout at the top.
Absolutely. And I'm guessing that is going to be reason science?
Yep. Oh, I forgot about this. Let's see.
That's 3 successes.
All right. So that will give you 3 momentum, and you may spend that to obtain information, of course. Let me just move these people around a bit. There we go. Alright, so yep, you can open that handout and report to what you find so far.
I'm guessing it's just Volsky scan 1.
Yep, it'll go in order, basically, by,
Fair enough. So Volsky runs his scan and takes a moment to consider the results before reporting to the bridge in general that, Captain, there are no life signs on this class-wide planet. There do not appear to be any docked vessels, nor are there any vessels, stationary or mobile, within sensor range. However, there is an adrift escape pods in nearby asteroid belt, which appears to have active life signs, or rather a single life sign, potentially Riemann. The situation may be degrading rapidly, however, as the pod has sustained damage.
Alright. So this is because we have a captain who's an NPC. I typically kind of do it by consensus of the players rather than just having her give out orders all the time and have you guys follow them. So there is a couple of ways that she's considering doing this. I mean, it's an escape pod, so you guys are going to respond to it and react to it. There's a couple different ways to do that. She puts out the theory or the idea of using a tractor beam. She also puts out the idea of using a transporter to just beam the pod into the cargo bay. So she turns to Lieutenant Colonel Lex, who is the chief engineer, and asks for his opinion.
We can actually How stable is the life signs, Lieutenant Wosky?
I turn to the GM.
You're only detecting a life sign. You're not able to detect its stability or otherwise, how well this Riemann is doing.
He feeds that information back, but he reiterates that the pod has taken damage, which means that there may be a timer on this situation.
We don't have any knowledge of the captain's log that you just read off, right?
I mean, she's not going to hide the mission from you, if that's what you're asking.
No, the reason I'm asking is, do we know about this guy's mental state?
Who, the Raymond?
Yeah. Or
no.
Well, we don't know who's on there. We just know there's a life sign, and I was presuming that this was the person that ejected himself. But I guess you just kind of confirmed.
It's not the same.
Cool.
It's not the Romulan in the log. It's not the one who said we are not ourselves. This is a whole different person.
Cool. Okay, got it. In that case, I'll say then, either way works. Tractor beam or transport.
I reckon tractor beam, Captain, because we don't know how our systems are going to react to the transport of a pod onto the ship.
Roger that. So before we continue with the tractor beam, Bosky, do you want to spend any information or any momentum for any information?
Well, one thing that would be useful is momentum to know potentially what kind of vessel, or at least nationality of vessel, this thing came from. Is it a Romulan escape pod? Is it a Federation escape pod? Is it a Klingon pod?
You don't have to spend momentum for this because
Okay.
I thought it was obvious, but maybe it's not. It came from the outpost, the Romulan outpost that you guys are approaching.
Yeah.
So it didn't come from a ship. It just came from the outpost. Sorry, that's my bad. I should have made that more clear.
Okay, that makes complete sense. Other than that, I can't think of anything, and it's always useful to have momentum.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so we don't have a pilot PC, so I'm just gonna say that you guys float towards closer to the asteroid field, and because it's an asteroid field, you guys are gonna use a tractor beam. You guys got to get pretty close to this pod to lock on. Mr. Vosky, as you guys are approaching, your sensors light up with information telling you that this asteroid field is filled with a substance, an ore, called kelbonite, which conveniently enough disrupts sensors and things of that nature, communications. It's a mineral that makes transporter use dangerous. And is also known to deflect energy beams, so it could also interfere with the tractor beam. But how do you react to that?
In a very even fashion, he'll just declare to the bridge, Captain, we are detecting kelbonite in this asteroid belt. It is likely to interfere quite severely with accurate sensors, communications, and transportation. It may also affect our tractor beams, but I predict that the impact there will be less dangerous, at least to ourselves.
Could we perhaps beam onto the structure and drive it out? Or would it be also equally as difficult to beam onto it?
Basically, Lieutenant Lex props up says it'll be more dangerous beaming somebody across.
Yeah, alright.
Yeah, there is another option, albeit one that would take the most time, which is that we could dispatch a shuttle, which will be unaffected by this, and either move someone airlock to airlock or tow them out with a cable.
My second idea.
That can actually work.
Okay. Alright, so if you want to take a shuttle, you're definitely going to need a good pilot, and what was the idea? You wanted to basically tractor them with the shuttle and kind of pull them out some more slowly and in between the asteroids so the bigger ship doesn't have to go through it? Is that it?
We could do that, but rather than use a tractor beam, which will have the same effects, actually link, a steel cable between the two.
Okay, so physical.
Or airlock to airlock.
Yeah, or airlock to airlock, yeah.
Okay. Somebody roll Insight Engineering, difficulty 0. Normally I just give this to you, but okay, you get 3 momentum. Well, actually you get I'm gonna go with Lex, because Lex is the chief engineer, so I'm gonna go with just Lex's. I think that's pretty fair. You know that if you try to attach it, this thing is like the size of a dinner table. If you try to attach, and its hull is already kind of degrading, if you try to attach anything physical to it, it's definitely going to cause it to degrade even more.
So the airlock to airlock seems to be the way.
Well, the shuttle is like 5 times bigger than the escape pod. You can literally only fit a person sitting like with their arms crossed. They get ejected into space, and then the computer decides where they go from there. Like they don't even have really room to move in there. So there's really no airlock. It's more of a capsule opens and you pull the person out. Kind of.
Hey guys, best bet is to pull we can't drag the person back out, but we can actually get them, we have to literally drag them out. Grab the capsule and get them out that way.
At least,
but we can't drag the capsule.
We have reason to suspect.
Can't attach anything to it.
I'm afraid for the life form inside, so I'm scared to even mention this, but perhaps we could use the tractor beam to grab any pieces of debris or just try and keep it, like, even if it's not at full strength, just try and keep it together while we get it out of this asteroid belt, because who knows if other asteroids might interfere with this. But yeah.
That is and Lex, you would know this too. As long as you get the tractor beam around the entire escape pod, which is likely because it's a real small escape pod, the tractor beam will contain most of the escape pod from breaking up further. The problem is the Kelbonite is going to make it so, like you've seen in Star Trek where like the tractor beam's locked on but then it starts flickering. It's going to cause it to do that. So while you have control over the escape pod, it's fine, but if that tractor beam flickers and you lose control, then you're basically just letting the escape pod, float away from the tractor beam. The tractor beam will fail and you have to reestablish contact. So
is there a way for Lex to bypass so the Carbonite doesn't interfere with the tractor beam?
You could do something to reduce the difficulty, but it's still going to affect it in some way, because it's basically like saying, how do you prevent yourself when you jump into the water from getting wet? Like, you could cover yourself in plastic, but at some point you're gonna get wet. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna happen eventually. So yeah, you can reduce the difficulty. I'll go ahead and tell you what the difficulty is for the tractor beam. Let's see, where is it? Energized? No, that's not it.
And to be clear, is it around the actual escape pod, or is the escape pod itself made of Kelvinite?
No, the escape pod is just a normal titanium. It's not made of Kelvinite at all.
Then couldn't we... I recommend to the group, can we also use like phasers to possibly cut away some of it, or at least just get away as much as we can and then use the tractor beam, or then use the actual hook?
So you want to shoot the asteroids out of the way, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it was just a recommendation.
I mean, I would say that wouldn't be hard to do. The complication range would go up though, because if any kind of debris from the asteroids hits that escape pod, it's basically game over for whoever's inside. So everything has its pros and cons. It's just up to you guys what you want to do. And keeping in mind, I will be taking threat for the longer this goes on as a discussion, which you guys are prone to do.
Best bet
Sounds
will
like there's
be
not much
getting
to do.
shuttle.
Yeah.
Best bet will be taking a shuttle out there, Captain.
Alright, so the difficulty of a tractor beam is 3. The ship can assist, and the complication range is also 3. And you said you want to take a shuttle?
Yeah.
Okay. If you spend a momentum, I'll say that you have a shuttle with a tractor beam on it. I don't think normally they do. I think the runabouts do, but you guys have like the normal shuttles. But if you want to spend a momentum, you can have a tractor beam on a shuttle, and that will make it a lot easier for you guys to maneuver within the asteroid belt if you want.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So is anyone against spending a momentum? Okay. If not, then who's going on this little mission? Probably don't need more than 2, max 3 people on a shuttle. Excuse me.
Shamar always recommends himself for an away mission.
Okay. Anybody else? We need someone who's halfway decent at flying a shuttle.
Absolutely not, Polsky.
Anyone got a con of 3 or greater?
Ooh,
No, I guess that's no.
Let me check.
Because I remember last game, someone was... Lex, weren't you always flying ships?
I think
you
got
Con,
the
you
wrong
said?
person.
I actually have a con of 5, surprisingly.
Oh,
I moved some stats around there.
So you're definitely the pilot. So now you probably want to bring some kind of medical professional in case somebody is in there that is in really bad shape. Is the doctor going to volunteer for that, or is someone going to recruit the doctor? Or the counselor, either one. I guess the counselor has decent medical as well.
It might
I
not
look to
as
the
good or
doctor.
better. But doctor's in sick bay, so you just gotta tell her.
I go,
I'm
take
coming.
the
There you go.
doctor.
Sickbay to doctor. Would you like to go on an away mission for us? Or other way around. Doctor
too.
sickbay.
She's there.
Cool.
In her mind, she's like, anything beats being stuck on here getting stared at by everybody else.
Yeah, so the next time Shamar sees the doctor, she's got like pointed ears, a green tint to her. She definitely doesn't look human like she did before.
What the fuck? It's like all Shamar says, and it's just like, is something wrong with you, Lieutenant? You look like you might need to see sick bay yourself.
She just kind of not rolls her eyes. She's like, but she's getting this question a lot. She's like, I did the scans. I'm fine. I'm fit for duty. But if you still don't want me, the counselor can go in my stead. I was just like, I'm so sick of these conversations.
Shamar puts both of his hands up and looks away, and he's like, my mistake. For fit for duty, I can't question that.
You just hear this random comment from Lex. Oh, it was just a random transporter accident.
As her counselor, I can
Glad you
confirm
have
that she is mentally able to serve.
Yep. All right.
Glad your molecules weren't scattered halfway across a platform. Can definitely use you.
All right. So I'm gonna bring you guys to the map, the space map. This is definitely not to scale, of course. Oh, definitely not the Klingon music anymore. All right. The hell? Okay. So I'm gonna pull the shuttlecraft token. So who of the people that are not on the shuttle, who wants to roll for the shuttlecraft? Everyone should have the ability to pull up the character sheet.
I suppose I will, since I have the best con, it seems.
No, you're gonna fly the shuttlecraft, but I need someone to roll for the actual ship, the actual shuttle.
Oh, the ship. My mistake.
Yeah.
I can do it if no one's going to jump in.
All right. So, it's not even a roll to leave the ship and head towards the asteroid field. I do need a let's see. This is funny. I wrote down. All right. So you're gonna need. I'll let you decide daring or control. Either one is fine. And con. And the difficulty to get through the asteroid field is going to be a 2, and the complication range is going to be a 2 as well. And the shuttle, you're going to roll 1 dice, and the focus is always on with ships. And it's going to be either engines or computers and con.
Computers con. All right, here we go.
All right, you got 1 success so far. Now we just need the pilot's roll.
And you said computers and con?
No, that was Edgeford's roll. You're just rolling either control or daring and con.
Okay. I'm like, that's not even on my character sheet. Alright.
And the difficulty.
Control and which one?
Control and con. Nice. So you guys get a momentum back, and you get through the rocks heading towards the escape pod. Now we need someone to lock on with a tractor beam. The difficulty is reduced from 3 to 2. The complication range is reduced from 3 to 1, so you don't have to worry about a complication range, but the difficulty is 2. The ship can assist with, I'll just say, sensors and security. And the role for you, whoever's going to actually do the locking on with the tractor beam, is going to be control and security. So probably Shamar.
Oh yeah, baby.
That's a complication from the ship.
I rolled really well in them complication. Yep. Interesting.
So you guys get a momentum. So you should be up to 7. But there is a complication. Yeah, you can spend 2 momentum to get rid of the complication from the ship, or you can
Might as
spend
well.
1 and then re-roll it with a higher complication range. I'll
Be
let
safe since we're near the top of momentum.
Okay, so go back down to 5 momentum, and you guys do no longer have a complication. Yeah, you lock on the tractor beam. You know, the entire blue field just covers the escape pod, and you slowly begin to bring it away from the rocks towards the back of the shuttle. Now I'm gonna need another control and con for you to like actually get away out of the asteroid field and head back to the ship. Need the ship to assist with engines or computer and con. You need 2 successes. A failure results in losing the escape pod.
Ooh.
Alright, you got it. You barely, well, I don't say barely, but you do get out of the asteroid field. You know, you might come a few feet from each rock, but you know what you're doing when it comes to shuttles, apparently. You get back to the ship, and you land in the shuttle bay on the Marathon, and what does it look like on the shuttle bay? I'll ask you, Lex, since you're acting at EXO. Who's there waiting for them, or do you just want them there?
Basically, I'll have security down there just in case, and
Okay.
the counselor as well.
Okay. Are you gonna go down there, or are you staying on the bridge?
I'll go down there.
All right. So we got.
I'll
Lex.
bring this.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll bring. I'll bring down the scientists as well.
Vosky.
Yeah, might as well. The whole group at this point.
All right.
Everyone but Vosky.
All right. So
When you say
let's.
scientist, do you mean Vosky or Baines?
Both.
Okay, so yeah, everyone.
Yep.
Get everyone. All right, so everyone's in the shuttle bay, and because this pod is like structurally not sound, opening it is not at all difficult. You do open it, and you see the Riemann is unconscious. You can tell based on the mutilated and gruesome wound on his lower back that he is paralyzed from the waist down. However, he dies almost immediately after opening the pod. Definitely an autopsy is going to have to be conducted in sickbay. This is going to be a reason and medicine roll. So before we get to that in the sickbay, there's definitely going to be an autopsy. Does anyone want to do anything while you're here in the shuttle bay? As far as just examining this mutilated dead creature, or what?
I would turn to the Vosky and just say, maybe we should scan and see what happened.
Yeah, but Vosky will take a scan of both the dead body and the shuttle itself to see if it comes up with anything interesting.
Yeah, scanning the escape pod and... Hold on one second.
Like to imagine there's one of those dramatic Star Trek scenes too, like the heartbeat of the tricorder stops going. He's dead.
Yeah, I was looking at everyone's names, like whose name most resembles Jim. I was like, nobody's. He's dead, Lex. But no, so your scan doesn't reveal much. The escape pod is a relatively, probably 70 years old at this point. It was probably barely holding on before it went into the asteroid field. You think that this Riemann definitely died from exterior causes based on the lacerations to his lower back. Other than that, your generic tricorder doesn't really pick anything up. You're definitely going to need like a in-depth autopsy and a scan from like a massive galaxy-class computer to kind of figure out exactly what happened to this Riemann.
Okay, Fosky will pass along his inconclusive results, but otherwise essentially leave things in the hands of the doctor.
Seems a little puzzling to me that if he was wounded prior to getting into this escape pod, why wouldn't he have brought a shame I would know this, but I am currently forgetting dermal regenerator. Why wouldn't he have brought something to treat himself?
Well, you can see a spine coming out of his back. Like when I say he's lacerated and mutated or mutilated, like it's bad. It's gory. There's no amount of dermal. This isn't a dermal regenerator. This is a body regenerator that you need.
Yeah. My mistake.
Yeah.
One thing that might be
parts that would indicate the kinds of weapons that attacked him.
That would be determined during the autopsy.
One thing that might be useful, we wouldn't need a scan for, is what's the blood pattern like inside the pod? Because this guy was presumably bleeding heavily, but if there's just pools of blood and stuff running, then he was wounded before he got into the pod. If there's blood splattered absolutely everywhere, then something happened to him inside the pod. Unlikely, but want to rule it out.
Yeah, it was the first one. He definitely dragged himself into the pod and then ejected himself to escape something. But let me know when you guys want to do the autopsy and find out, and we'll get to it.
Might as well.
Anything else?
Basically, when they take the body out, I want to actually have a look over the pod itself.
Okay,
if I can pull off anything.
I'll go ahead and tell you right now, it's just a generic old escape pod. Nothing you're going to find from it. It's out of game. It's a waste of time to even look at it.
Okay.
Like I don't want to hinder you as far as like your investigation, but it's not going to reveal any new information. So there's no point in going down that road.
Not even markings as to where it came from.
I've already told you guys.
It's the station, essentially.
Yeah, it came from the station. In fact,
here's a stupid question that's probably not relevant, but where was the escape pod headed? Can we see its heading?
I'll go ahead and say I'll tell you that just based on the taking a look at the computer in the escape pod, you think that it was just ejected randomly in a random direction, and like I said, just to escape where he was.
All right. Yeah.
All
right. Looks like we gathered all we can here. Let's go to sick bay, shall we?
All right.
Yeah. So basically, Lex is going to ask the doctor if he can actually get DNA samples so he can run it through the database to see which the guy's matched to whatever database he can bring up in the Romulan Republic.
Alright, so once the autopsy's done, if you don't get the information you need, just spend momentum and ask questions. Alright.
Okay.
So this is going to be the doctor, obviously. Reason or control, it's up to you. And medicine, obviously. The difficulty is 2. The ship may assist. Who wants to roll for the ship, computers, and medicine? Anybody?
Who's volunteering? I'll do it again.
All right.
Don't everybody jump in line.
All right, so go ahead and roll, and
medicine.
we will see what you get. All right, ship did not assist. Apparently, it's spending all its computing time in the holodeck. Sorry.
Yes, a momentum then.
Nice.
Cool.
All right, so you guys definitely get 2 momentum there. That puts you up to what? 4, 6?
6.
His mutilated lower spine is the result of Actually, you can go ahead and open up your next Dr. Engstrom's medical diagnosis 1. Go ahead, and that's basically what you find. You can, like I said before, if you guys want to spend momentum to ask questions, you can. If it's a question that I've either already answered, or I would have given it to you anyway, or it's unimportant or whatever, then I won't even make you spend momentum.
I'm sorry, you said which one of the diagnoses am I opening?
It's the second one, scan result handouts, Dr. Engstrom's medical diagnosis 1.
Everyone just standing watching the whole time. Or does she need to like calm people and go? But, she'll at least calm Colonel Lex to let him know that they're just kind of her results that there were extensive genetic modifications made to this DNA. Centaurian DNA has been introduced into the genome, and time of death would have been less than an hour ago.
I think
the body
you're looking
seems
at
to
the
have
wrong
rejected
one.
the modifications.
I think you're
Okay, let's
looking
go
at
with the 2 on it.
Yeah, I said 1. We're going in order. We're not jumping any of these. We're going in order. That's why I put it in the order, because otherwise you'll spoil stuff for yourself.
Wait, it looks like the computer was wrong. It's giving me different information.
You should be able to access it. Let me know if you can't see it.
I see it now. The first one.
Alright.
And then, okay, because I was going to say this is a different species here. Anyway.
Whoa!
So instead, this mutilated lower spine is the result of a felinoid claw, possibly Xintidraxline or Acacian. The Riemann DNA has been genetically altered.
Much cooler.
Much cooler indeed.
So if you have any questions, just let me know and spend momentum, and if there's anything else you want to know.
Lex still needs a piece of DNA. She can probably swab that of the blood and hand it to him. But here you go.
So I think you'd easily be able to find out this guy's identity based on an autopsy. Basically, he's just some random guard that was sent to the station probably a few years ago. No one's really like he doesn't have any connections to like the Romulan military or anything like that. He's basically just a Riemann that was sent there to guard their facilities. Because it is a I believe I said it was a mining outpost, but yeah, nothing major, nothing of note as far as his individuality goes.
I'll at least send it back to the Romulan Republic, so
Okay.
they can contact the next of kin of his death.
All right.
I'm not sure if I'm here or not, but I would just recommend maybe we can dig a little deeper on this claw, see where that's coming from. I imagine it's the genetic mutations, but if we can get any more information in that kind of realm.
Yeah.
We got 6 momentum we can spend for that.
Yeah. If you want to, just let me know, and I can get more information to give you.
And that's what I would recommend, or at least digging a little deeper on these genetic mutations.
Yeah, may as well.
All right. So the foreign DNA left in the Riemann's injury belongs to a Kazenti Antican hybrid, and you find a little bit of Sataran DNA. As for what the Satarans are, let me grab Memory Alpha. I thought I made a handout for it, but I probably didn't.
I had to look up Kazinti as well. Wow.
Yeah. Let's see. STA. Basically, this is an episode that I actually don't even remember from TNG, so I don't even know if you guys would remember it, but I will post it in the Gilded chat for you guys. Basically, they're kind of shapeshiftery. They're really good at being spies. If you scan them, you will detect whatever the DNA is that they're trying to pretend to be, and they're basically very manipulative and everything like that. But I did put the link there if there's anything else. Now, you only find a little bit of their DNA in his body. It's not like he was a Sataran. He was a Riemann. Or no, the person that injured the Riemann was a Kazenti/Antican hybrid. And Anticans are, I think, the canine species. I have to look them up.
Yes, they ate an ambassador.
Yeah. So it looks like, just based on circumstantial evidence, whatever attacked the Riemann was the result of a genetic experiment gone wrong. Sounds familiar, doesn't it, guys?
Oh yeah, it does. this is a weird question, but it could be relevant. Can we tell like how fast these mutations occurred? Could we tell if like he was hit and like a zombie, he was just infected immediately, or if like he was like dropped into a vat and changed like that? Yeah.
Not really.
I'm curious if this could be like infectious in any way.
Oh, infectious? No. This is something that was specifically integrated into their DNA.
Oh, okay.
And then the only reason why it's on the Riemann is because the thing attacked him. It didn't like crawl off the Kazinti and get on the Riemann or anything like that. So yeah, as far as that goes, it's just the result of basically a mad scientist's a monster experiment went rogue and killed a guard, basically.
Sounds good.
Okay, anything else?
Well, I am out of ideas. Should we continue to the spaceship? Anyone else got anything?
No.
Or not spaceship, but space station?
Yeah. I think we should continue on. Doctor, if you... You wanna, continue on with it, or... If you have any ideas?
Yeah, I'll see what I can do. So.
Alright, so you guys are heading towards the station, right? Which is
Yes.
orbiting. Well, actually, it's physically on this like Class Y planet, so you will definitely need EV suits. However, as you approach it, your scans tell you that the only location in the station that has actually got oxygen and gravity is the infirmary. Everything else around it, like you guys heard during the captain's log, has been vented into the deathly atmosphere of the planet. So I guess the question is, what do you want to do first?
You say that the station, only one section of it has atmosphere and gravity.
Yep.
What's the native gravity situation?
You'll float away, but you'll probably burn to death first. Your ashes.
Sounds about right.
Your ashes will burn away. Your
Yeah.
ashes will float away. No, that's on the planet. Because the space station was vented out into space, the planet's atmosphere is slowly, coming into the station, but it hasn't become like hellscape just yet. It's basically you won't be able to breathe. You probably don't have gravity, so you'll definitely need an EV suit. As for your character, because he already has a breathing apparatus, he probably will still need an EV suit for the heat.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so damn hot.
Yeah.
Unless he's a hot species, I don't know.
Is this a planet with no gravity?
The planet has no gravity or
Yes.
very little gravity, but the station on it had artificial gravity before it was jettisoned into the vacuum, basically.
All right. Well, I assume we suit up. Grab a flashlight as well, just in case.
Is this a sort of standard template modular construction thing, or is it very bespoke for this planet?
Yeah, it's pretty. It looks like a hodgepodge of ancient, and I mean old, like 100-year-old Romulan technology and construction. Like, you definitely can tell that this place has been neglected and that this place is just like the bare minimum. Like, at the time, hundreds of years ago, when the Romulans were expanding, this was like the best of their technology, but now they neglected it, so it's basically like an old double wide sitting in the middle of the forest, basically.
Yeah, this is where they when they can't send you to a prison colony, this is where they send you.
Basically, this is Australia. Anyway, sorry. Sorry.
Almost just puked up my water. That was great.
All right. So who's going on this away? Assuming you guys are going down there, who's going on this away mission?
Shamar always recommends himself.
Lex will have to go down as well.
Okay.
I would like to go as well.
All right. Who else? You got a security, an engineer, and medical.
Oski won't volunteer. He'll go if he's ordered, but he won't volunteer because he has more important things to be doing up here in his own mind.
Like unraveling space and time.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
You don't have the device
He's also-
anymore.
He's also our
Doesn't
best
matter.
man at
He
the
has
scanner, so
data.
that's...
Alright, well, whoever's staying on the
In
ship.
that case, if Oski's staying here, I'll go down then.
Okay, so whoever's staying on the ship, so it sounds like it's Vosky and Engstrom, pick an
Yeah, I don't think
NPC.
it's needed.
Because you're gonna... there'll be very little anything to do on the ship, so I need you guys to pick an NPC.
Oh, if there's not going to be anything, we might as well go ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's no point in playing an NPC if
Keep
your PC does
Bosky.
nothing.
Yeah.
Bosky is ordered.
So yeah, basically Hokada's like go, but keep in mind also, guys, this is an actual module that I rewrote. So it's not like I made a bunch of different branching options like I usually do. I just took this module and rewrote it. So they literally have nothing for you to do on the ship. Like if you guys had stayed, I'd have been like, that's fine, and I just made some shit up. All right, so everyone's going. Are you transporting or taking a shuttle? Transporting's probably easier, just because you can beam directly into the infirmary where the oxygen is. But if you want to go to like the command center first, or if you want to go to like the airlock first, then you could take a shuttle. It's up to you guys.
Is any of that transporting interfering mineral present here?
No, that was just the asteroid field near the planet. It's fine.
Then I suggest we transport.
Transport.
Ames actually looks kind of concerned, and she says, "I don't know. What does that atmosphere look like?"
Oh, I almost said something horrible. I would say that Baines probably has taken a look over Vosky's shoulders at the console and seen that it's basically like a volcanic hellscape of heat and a lack of oxygen. So if that's what you're talking about outside the station, inside the station it's mostly slightly muggy with no oxygen to breathe, and then except for the infirmary, which has been sealed off from the rest of the station, which is completely breathable. So again, it's up to you guys how you want to enter it.
We're still wearing UV suits.
Sit up.
Yeah, you're already suited up.
Hello.
You already got EV suits. It's just a matter of where you want to go and how you want to get there.
If the infirmary was sealed, there's a good chance it was sealed for a reason, such as biological issues in the air.
Let's beam outside the infirmary.
Okay, and then you can just open the door and go in. Sure. All right.
What's the sort of wear of the atmosphere on items? So if we were to go down in our EV suits, and if we were to go down in the shuttle, how long could we spend in outside atmosphere before it just degrades so much we're no longer protected?
For as long as the plot needs, unless I spend threat.
Okay.
Like, yeah, that's not a big deal. As long as you don't sit up here for 2 hours discussing it, you'll be fine.
Lex will go, do you want to beam down to the command center to find out
All right, so
to find out more information?
command center first, then walk to infirmary. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Anybody
Yeah.
have any disagreements about that? All right.
Sorry, I popped up for just a second. What was that?
The plan that Lex suggests is to beam into the command center, figure out what you can figure out there, and then walk to the infirmary.
Cool. Sounds good with me.
Yeah. Because that room being sealed off, it
It might have a
draws my
reason.
suspicions. Yeah.
Okay. So you're beaming in. Does Lex still have the transporter chief talent?
No.
Oh, okay, then never mind. I'll just say you guys beam in then. Alright, let's see. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Don't need that. Alright, so you guys beam onto the command deck in EV suits. Let me move you guys to... Well, first let me copy all of your... Whoops. Oh, all of your tokens, so I can just move you over there. I'm gonna say she went with you just because. All right. Don't need the bridge sound anymore.
I don't know if it's a bug on my side or whatever, but it's just a Federation shuttlecraft in place of his image.
Yeah, I don't know where that's. Alright, so the Operations Center's design resembles the bridge of a late 23rd century Romulan bird of prey. A central console indicates a commander's log has been recorded but not forwarded anywhere. Now, Lex, you'll immediately be able to just glance at the console and know that you can restore atmosphere as long as you seal all the airlocks and hatches before accessing the environmental controls. So I guess my question to you guys is, what do you want to do first? What do you want to do at this point in time?
Can I look at that log first?
You want to do that first? All right. That is gonna be, let's see. Actually, Shamar and Lex, roll Insight Security and Insight Engineering respectively, please. Difficulty 1.
You got it.
All right. So both of you add momentum to the pool. You think that if you start accessing logs prior to getting the environment settled, you might lock down the whole base and you won't be able to get the environment activated. So your guys' hunch is to try to reactivate the environment first.
Yeah. Lex will reactivate the environments first.
All right, so you're gonna either, it's gonna be engineering, control, or reason, either one. It's gonna be a difficulty of 3. Now you may succeed at cost. So basically, when you roll it, if you don't get all 3 successes, I'll just take threat, and then you can still succeed. I'll just take threat, and there'll be some kind of complication. But it's best to try to at least roll it to see if you can succeed first. So
I'm gonna spend 2 momentum.
Okay, so you're down to 5, I think.
Yep.
Nice. And what was it? Difficulty 3. So you plus 2 momentum, back up to 7. All right. Let's see. Basically, the environment, all the hatches seal, all the airlocks seal, and the environmental systems are restored, and you can, after like a couple of minutes, you can take off your helmets if you want to. If you're paranoid, you don't have to.
Are we able to detect any pathogens in the atmosphere?
The consoles that you're working at tell you that there's nothing wrong with the atmosphere, but I mean, these are old, ancient Romulan computers, so who's to say if that's completely accurate?
Do our tricorders agree?
Someone wants to roll a reason and science, difficulty 1.
I'll give it a shot.
It's 8.
8 is the max? Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
It's 3.
Yeah, so you don't detect any pathogens. You don't detect anything wrong. I mean, you detect like the remnants of the Class Y planet, you know, that. But other than that, you don't detect anything that is inherently harmful.
Volsky
Are there any other
life? He'll put
Sorry,
a slightly different slant on it, which is he'll say, "I do not detect anything on my tricorder, and it chimes with the base's internal sensors. However, something unusual happened here, something they did not understand, and until we understand what took place, I would advise extreme caution, unless it is something, or in case it is something, that avoids conventional sensor detection."
I concur. Do we have any knowledge of? Are there any other life signs on the space station beside us?
There are none that you can detect.
Cool. Figured you'd mention if there was, but
press the button to read the log.
All right. So it's going to require a bit more than just pushing a button. Let's see. This is going to be a control and security or control and command at a difficulty of 2. And I'll go ahead and tell you if there's a complication, you will trip the security lockout. So who wants to roll?
Here you go, Shamar. Can you get that out? Unlocked.
Yeah.
Me.
Control and
So-
security.
Which role did you say it is?
Control and security. God, my stomach hurts. I guess I ate too many hot dogs. Alright. What I said difficulty was 2? Yeah, difficulty is 2. So you succeed. And a small screen on the console flickers, and you can see the face of the Romulan commander. Speaking of which, why do I have frickin' Klingon symbols on this thing? However, the audio portion fails, and so the computer kind of turns it into text for you to read. And it says, the project has been an abysmal failure. Besides myself and a few notable exceptions, the Romulans, Klingons... Oh, that's the wrong one. Sorry about that. Commander Varick's log. Stardates have no meaning here. In my 13th year of exile, to this Vortivore forsaken place, the filthy Orion's apparent illness continues to spread. Half a dozen of my best soldiers have been quarantined in the infirmary. I know not their fate, but I have ordered that Verul, Dr. Rival. That failure will not be tolerated. This is no kind of death for nobody, not even a Klingon. Nobody should have to die like this in this accursed place like this. And then there's a supplemental log. The Orion is long gone, but our miners and soldiers remain locked in the infirmary. Rival claims he is doing all he can, but there is something odd about him. He has not been himself since this so-called plague began. I must go down to the infirmary in person to get an accurate report myself. So I'm going to move the station commander's log up because I expected you guys to go to the infirmary first, which you didn't, so let me... and that way, if you guys need to revisit that log, you could just click on station commander's log in the scan results handout, and it will give you that information. Alright.
Is there anything obvious now to suggest the identity of the person we found in the escape pod?
Not really. I mean, I could tell you, for the sake of closure, that in the background of that Romulan commander, you could see a Riemann guard if you want, but otherwise, it's just a Riemann guard. Like, I don't know how much, like, how I can convince you. I know some of you are Romulans, so you're kind of paranoid, but as far as you know, he's just a Riemann guard, and this Romulan commander is the commander of the base. Shamar, you're kind of overhearing this failure of this communications console, you do notice at the operations console to the side that there is a traffic report that you can access if you so choose. This will be a reason and con difficulty of 2. This will basically tell you the traffic to and fro the station. Never mind.
Yeah, I'll do that.
What was that roll for?
You said reason and con, right?
Yeah, difficulty of 2, so you didn't succeed. I was going to give you more information, but you rolled too quickly.
Can I spend a momentum since we have an ass load?
Yeah, but you got to spend a momentum before you roll. That's the thing.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you could spend a determination to re-roll if you want. If you want to use that determination.
Not yet. I don't think so. That's alright.
All right, so you didn't get a complication, so the command lockouts didn't take effect. However, as you're trying to access the traffic report, it gets deleted into the trash folder, and you can't find it anymore.
Yeah, Shamar's just kind of like pressing buttons and like, fuck, and he'll say, he'll kind of motion towards his phaser and say, I know previous. Whoops, my push-to-talk stopped working. I know previously we had determined that one of these guys was part Sataran. Our scanners could be failing us. There still could be people on this station. This seems way too closed of an event. There's something we're missing, definitely.
Yeah. Let's get down to the infirmary.
All
I
right.
concur.
So you guys head to the infirmary.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Just move
Mhm.
some.
I'll lead the way with the flashlight.
All right. NPCs, characters. All right. Oh, wrong one. Gotta go back to the beginning. All right. So you get to the infirmary, and the door, the door is like half open, so you guys can easily just look around the corner and see what's going on. I'll go ahead and move you guys to it. The infirmary is a cramped and dimly lit two-room ward. Mutilated Reman, Romulan, and Klingon corpses occupy the 5 biobeds in the main examination room. The station's Romulan surgeon is slumped on the floor, stabbed in the back with a Dktag dagger. So what do you want to do?
Dog.
Any of the corpses have the sort of mutated claws that could have caused the previous injuries?
No. Am I muted? Oh, okay. No.
No, I heard you.
And is this also, is this picture accurate? Is there a person sitting in the, like a box of some kind?
Wait, what?
Oh wait, I'm so sorry. Never mind. It looks the thing that's like in the background behind this Romulan makes it look like she's like encaged in a box or something. I don't know. Anyway, I was kind of curious about the Doc Tog because we haven't really heard anything about Klingons yet. Can I inspect that corpse?
Sure, go ahead.
Kind of look it over. If once we scan these bodies with tricorders, does anything interesting come up?
Well, if you scan with a regular tricorder, it tells you they're dead. So I'll need the doctor to get for more information to roll with a medical tricorder, and that'll be a reason and medicine roll with a difficulty of 3.
Kind of clear out this one died. Maybe not so clear about the other ones. Want to scan them?
Yeah, I can do that. So I will spend the momentum to get an extra die. And additionally, I'm going to go ahead and call on one of the directives of investigating the outpost that I cannot pronounce for the life of me. So I'm just going to use that as a designation.
All right.
Oh, I just need one more.
Thought Kriebel might be about to vanish. She was roboting very hard for me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, same here.
Me too.
Hopefully, she just takes care of whatever it is and bounces back.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell made me think this was a box, but something about the background it looks so strange.
I'm sorry. I there's only so much I could do with when I'm looking for Klingon and Romulan corpses.
You're good.
No, I see why you thought it was a box because the little bit.
Yeah,
just
I was like,
on
what
the
is
side
happening in
creates-
this scene?
I still don't
So,
know which one you're
wait.
talking about.
So Bane's
The one that's like laying on the bio bed.
Sorry, what was that?
So Bane's kind of looks around at all the dead people,
Mm-hmm.
and then just starts scanning the room for weapons. It's like very cold and very analytical how she's doing it.
All right. Reason and science difficulty 1.
Oh no, this is for weapons acquisition.
Are you physically looking with your eyeballs, or are you scanning?
Physically looking with my
Oh,
eyeballs.
well then no. You find the occasional Dktag dagger that's like lying by a dead Klingon, but other than that you don't see any obvious signs of weapons. In fact, most of the uniforms of the Romulans look scientific rather than military. The Romulan that was stabbed is clearly a doctor. There's one Reman over here, or actually there's 2 Remans over there that were guards. You see a couple daggers by them, but you don't see any disruptors. The one Klingon, or the 2 Klingon warriors are clearly some kind of, warrior, but they've got Dktag daggers, but they do not have disruptors near them. Alright, so is Kriebel back? Did you roll? Yeah, I think you failed pretty miserably.
Yeah, I no. I don't know. It took my roll twice, but the first one's got 2 successes. The second one has 1, but I called the determination, so either way that gets us to 3.
Okay. Let's see. Just gotta find. Yep, there it is. Okay. So you discover that the Klingon on the bed has Sataran DNA within him as well.
Yep.
You easily detect that he was been experimented on. Just with your CSI mind, whoever has a CSI mind, you can clearly see that the Klingons attacked the Romulan doctor, probably for what the Romulan doctor was doing. But as far as like why the Remans and the other Romulans are dead, you're not really sure. This Romulan does have distinctly human features. Like when you scan that Romulan, you detect human DNA. You're not 100% sure if that's because like he had an ancestor that was human, or if it's because it was like physically, put into his genome. But you're also detecting like other DNA strands within the various individuals. The best case, the thing, what you probably would come to the conclusion is the doctor was doing some kind of experimentation on his various colleagues, and then was eventually found out. What that has to do with a Kazenti Antikin clawing at a Reman is anyone's guess, but more than likely, what happened here clearly came to some kind of, came to a head. So, if there's any other questions that you have, you can spend momentum and I can try to answer them.
Does any of this genetic alteration or anything in these people's bloodstreams have even a hint of Orion DNA to it,
No.
or Orion anatomy? That's weird, because it's the Orion disease.
I find this all very equally perplexing, but also equally terrifying. A group of people that cannot be scanned, that cannot be that cannot be detected by scanners that's JMR's at a loss for words. An
Basically,
advantage, he finally says.
Basically, Lex goes up to the door to look at it to see if this was manually overridden to open up, or was it left open?
It probably definitely opened up relatively recently, because when you restored the environmental controls, the infirmary was the only location that had an environment in it, so it had to have been opened after you restored environmental controls.
Lex goes, it's weird that this door was open when we came here.
Shamar's just shaking his head. Somebody's here. There's
Yeah.
no way this entire place is empty. Someone's here, and he like draws his phaser and is just looking at the door. He's even paranoid, so he'll like look out the door left and right.
And remember that Lex is empathic as well.
Question for the GM about Sataran biology.
Mm-hmm.
When they die, do they revert back to original form, or do they continue to be in the form of the thing that they were imitating?
I'm assuming since when that guy was shot, he turned back into his normal self, that it's the original, the first one you said, the former one, because he was literally.
But it.
Go ahead.
Okay, it just means that I can rule out that these are actually Satarans or Sataran DNA,
Yeah.
and they're still fooling our senses after they're dead.
No, it seems like somebody injected, the DNA into them after. They were Klingon and Romulan and Reman, but someone for some unknown reason is trying to give them the qualities of a Sataran.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of like as Bossy's going on that point, I'll be like, maybe that's not even the most terrifying thing. I mean, the fact that I mean, they could be anywhere, right? They could, get a ship, get a cloaked ship, and all of them could be cloaked. I mean, who knows if they're even capable of changing form? It's a small amount of their DNA. This is, I think we should sweep the rest of the station, make sure that nobody leaves.
Yeah, I agree.
Should we split up and look?
I would probably recommend against splitting up, but I do agree we should look.
Yeah. I
I
recommend
concur.
not splitting up because that's asking for us to get picked off.
Yeah, I definitely concur. We also have to keep in mind, not only can we not see, assuming there are people on the station, which it seems very highly likely, not only can we not see them, they can probably see us. They probably know we're already here. One, the station just fucking turned on, and two, they probably have access to sensors as well.
Yep. So we might as well get moving. The next place will be. Let's go and check out security. There is
Sure.
security. We swing by engineering.
I lead the way down the hall.
So you're all going together?
Yeah.
Yes.
Alright, so you head down the hall and probably not even 50 feet down the corridor, you turn a corner and you see green blood smeared on the ground, and in the distance, because it's still pretty dark. I mean, you got the environmental systems on, but you got like auxiliary power only, so the lighting is still pretty dark. But you can see something moving in the shadows.
Half Raymond.
You feel pain and fear.
I had said previously, it's cool if you want to roll this out, but I'd said previously that I would have taken a flashlight. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's fine. You can, if you.
Okay.
If you
so I will shine my flashlight down the hall and see if I can see who's there.
You see, like, a foot as somebody pulls themselves into another room.
I will say nothing and just kind of turn to Lex, looking for a command.
He would go up quietly. He goes, go up quietly.
Sure. I will creep up towards the door, trying to listen and being as quiet as possible.
All you hear is like gurgling, like, it's a pretty
yeah.
I'm trying to think of the word, but it's a pretty recognizable thing when someone's about to die, and they're not doing well.
Just wanted to see if there was anything else. I will then turn inside the room and see what I see.
You see a Romulan kind of attempting to pull himself towards like the armory to try to get a weapon. He's a scientist. However, blood is coming from somewhere under him, because you don't see the blood on his back, but you do see the smear of blood that he's dragged, green blood, as he attempts to pull himself, and then he just stops. Presumably because he hears somebody coming behind him.
I'll kind of just say, freeze, and I'll wait for him to turn to me. I'll kind of say, we're friendly. Starfleet.
He just stops and doesn't move. He faces on the ground.
Doctor! Doctor!
Yeah, she's presumably not too far away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you want to do, Doctor?
He's gonna move forward and attempt to treat him.
Alright, how do you do that? Because what you do determines what the reaction will be.
She'll say, I'm a doctor, first off.
Okay, there's no reaction.
Basically, Lex moves forward so he can see.
Has the whole group moved in the room at this point?
I have.
Yeah, I'm assuming so, unless someone specifies.
Because as all this is going on, and Shamar has had this very like caring look on his face, all of a sudden it goes hard, and he like taps Bosky on the shoulder and says, "Scan him."
Bosky just quietly does that.
Okay. Reason Science, difficulty 1.
Okay. And since he's already scanned for, I'm guessing, various mutations and so forth, I'm going to invoke testing a theory and theory into practice to give myself an extra dice and make it difficulty 0.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Three
Alright,
successes.
3 successes. So I think you guys have like 4 bonus momentum, so you guys can use it at any point. But I mean, I'll say 3 bonus momentum now because you've probably it's been at least a scene since the last one. So yeah, he's definitely 99.9999% Romulan, but you detect foreign alien DNA that the tricorder has no record of, and you detect a little bit of Jem'Hadar DNA.
Fosky will say, this gentleman has had less interference than most. However, it is of a very peculiar nature. There is a little Jem'Hadar in there, but an entirely unknown life form as well.
Jem'Hadar. And this was kind of like a side conversation. I pulled Bosky away, and I'll walk back up to him now and say, what's your name, friend?
Who are you asking?
The Romulan. Or
Okay.
the wounded person.
Well, since that was happening at a side, let me get back to Engstrom. How do you deal with this guy?
She's looking for the source of the bleeding, first off.
Well, it's under him.
So she'll attempt to kind of ease him so that she can at least get a look at the wound and start presumably patching it.
You see that from his throat to his stomach has been opened up, and he, worse than all the blood and organs that you see, his insides begin fluctuating in and out of visibility, almost as if his body is trying to cloak.
Yep. Oh, shit.
Oh, no. Oh my god.
I fucking picked up on that immediately. Oh, that's so sick. Sorry.
Oh, she's still got to try and patch him up.
Good luck. I'll
Patching up organs she can't see.
So, I think it's safe to say, from your medical point of view and your medical experience, that his best way of keeping him alive, if that's even possible at this point, is to get him basically to the marathon like right now. Otherwise, he's pretty much gonna die within a minute or less.
Okay,
Emergency transport.
Lex calls up to the marathon and say emergency transport.
Alright.
To sickbay.
Is Dr. Engstrom going with him, or is she staying on the station?
She probably has to, right?
Probably do have to. As much as out of game, I know it's useful if I'm still here.
Well, I'll give you some information, as you're doing what you do on the ship, so you're not going to be like not doing anything. But if you're going and if you're the only one, I just need to know what everybody else is doing once they leave.
Okay. Yeah, Engstrom will beam out with her patient.
Okay.
Right, to save another NPC.
So what's everyone else doing? Lex, what's your orders? Or are you going with him?
Okay. I know this is a security issue, so he's best off. Yes, I know you're probably best off handling it, Shamwell, down here.
And what were our options exactly? What other areas have we not explored?
I think you guys were heading to the armory and engineering.
Okay. Probably engineering sounds like the better bet. It appears that my small theory may have been somewhat debunked. It seems like that guy was, from what Dvosky was telling me, he was Jem'Hadar. We've had quite a run through of the races now. Yeah, I originally thought that it would be quite brilliant to have everyone be the same race, or at least try and work with similar features, but it looks like they were just kind of Like a mad scientist going with whatever they could find. Very strange.
I am so glad Angstrom beamed away before you said that.
Yeah.
Yes, this scientist is certainly inventive. And Vodsky will make sure that the results of his bioscan are beamed up to sickbay so Engstrom doesn't go like, what the hell is this? Like, she knows the genetic material. And
Hey.
the most interesting part, however, is not the Chempadar DNA. That is relatively pedestrian. It is the entirely unknown life form.
That too, yes.
Basically, rubs his elbow on occasion. As well. While talking to you guys.
So you guys are right outside the armory if you guys want to check it out. I will also say that you guys would be able to check the, for the lack of a better term, CCTV footage and get the traffic report from here as well, since you couldn't get it from operations.
That's a good plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can.
So
we'll try.
So it's going to be, I mean, you guys are already pretty much right outside the door. So it's going to just be a reason and con roll, difficulty of 2, and the complication range is 3. If you get a complication,
okay.
And I'm assuming you're going to spend the momentum to get rid of it. But if you don't, then it will lock you guys out of everything.
Yeah. Shaymar is gonna do it, and he's gonna use bonus.
I have returned. What's going on?
He's gonna use bonus momentum.
All right. Since you guys do have bonus momentum.
Use bonus momentum.
I heard you. Roll.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
What's up?
Yeah, Shaymar.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I thought you were.
Shaymar, roll.
What am I rolling?
Max, I thought you said you were rolling.
No, I was getting Shaymar to do it.
Oh well.
Yeah, I popped out for a second. Fucking gilded. What was the roll?
It's gonna
Reason
be
engineering.
reason and con with a difficulty of 2 and a complication range of 3.
Okay, can I preemptively spend some momentum here?
Yeah, you've got bonus momentum.
Bonus.
And what does that exactly change again?
Just go from task roll 2 to task roll however many momentum you're spending.
Okay. I want to make sure I get this done, so I'm going to do 2.
Okay.
Hey.
Nice. And you don't get a complication, so you don't get locked out of the computer. All right.
Hey.
So, you guys look at the footage, and you see an Orion freighter has routinely docked at Dirakith mining station, making runs between the station and Mariposa. You can spend momentum to gain more information.
What are we sitting at? 6? Might as well.
I think you're still at 8, aren't you?
It's still
Yeah.
bonus momentum.
Oh, bonus momentum. Jesus Christ. So much momentum going around. Yeah, I'll spend one of the bonus momentum. Get more.
Yeah. We might as well spend both of them.
Sure.
Alright. The security footage of the docking port shows a Klingon and Romulan entering the Orion freighter. And when they exit, 30 minutes later, you can see 2 Breen inside that ship. However, with them is the human teen that some of you encountered aboard the Alcove. And you wanted to spend 2 momentum, right? Is that what you said? Because I got
correct.
1 more. All right.
Yes, sir.
The Orion freighter
Yes.
last arrived at the station 3 weeks ago. The next day, the station's doctor placed the infirmary under quarantine.
When did the Orion freighter leave?
If I remember correctly, let's just go back and see. So the last time it was there, 3 weeks ago. It doesn't say like how long it was there. It just arrived 3 weeks ago, did some business and left.
Its departure time was never logged. Okay.
It is. It's just not relevant to the story. 3 weeks ago,
Okay.
pretty much.
Pretty much,
It would be
So,
before the thing happened on the Alcove, basically. Because you're seeing the teenager, the 19-year-old there, and then you saw him in the alcove. So that's the chronology is he was here first, talking to some Romulans and Klingons. Which, by the way, don't know if you picked this up, but this station is crewed by both Romulans and Klingons. And then he left on the Orion ship, somehow got onto the Breen ship, and then the Breen ship went to board the alcove, and that's when all the shenanigans happened.
We may have to contact. Do we have a registration for that ship?
A registration? Yes, it is the Crimson Servant. It is a known Orion smuggling ship.
Okay. He's gonna send that information up to the ship to get them to someone to intercept that ship if they find it.
Okay, just so you know, space is big, so it's probably not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he's gonna see if they can broadcast it to all Federation ships.
Yep, that's fair.
Yeah.
I just will again remind you, you guys are in independent space, so you have very limited jurisdiction where you are.
Yeah.
So.
Well, kind of going back to the moment here, I'll just gotta say, this station seems to just give us more and more questions. Not watching the way of answers.
Yeah. Also,
because
this station... Carry on.
Because gears are ticking in Lex's head. Like, if he's left that ship, something must have happened on that ship as well.
Well, keep in mind, I did tell you where that ship went. So.
Yeah.
And
perhaps that's where the rest of the survivors are.
And for you guys who would like to, there is a handout called Mariposa Colony. It's got all of the Memory Alpha stuff, and then starting at 2380, it's got a new or additional timeline stuff that you guys can look at, and that will definitely tie into everything that's been going on. So. And Edgeford, you were gonna say something?
Yeah, I was just not seeing a handout, but
oh, I might have to.
This place definitely is old, neglected, not important. This isn't a high-tech lab, so it's likely that whatever the Romulan doctor who was eventually killed was doing was him desperately trying to counteract whatever it was the teenager brought along. And that, I mean, there's no reason to knock this place out. It's completely insignificant, unless they were just using this as a testing ground.
I think it's a testing ground.
If they're going to use it as a testing ground, though, they need to come back and get results. So they're going to have something here that is still monitoring.
Yeah.
And either broadcasting, or they're going to come back and pick it up.
Not only that, why would they have it placed on basically what is essentially a prison colony? I mean, this place should be so much bigger, or at least hidden if it was some sort of like lab. I think it's more likely that maybe, one of these idiot scientists that just wanted to go mad and someone figured it out and shit went down.
I think
there is a way to figure that out.
I think they're testing it on civilian. Carry on.
He goes, isn't this multiple different species at this prison colony right now?
Say that again?
Few, but it's not the most biodiverse of places.
Yeah,
think about it. If you want to test genetic modification, where else would you go and try and do it? You would be spotted in Federation space a lot easier. But if you did it out here, who's going to stop you?
I do believe that this was a test on an innocent population.
It seems so perplexing. Yes. The Romulans are usually very, very good at hiding their secrets. This seems half-assed.
This isn't Romulan. He just says under his...
Vosky somehow knows.
Basically, Lex goes, this isn't Romulan, I can tell you that. This is not even Klingon.
So this is either a completely new faction or a faction that isn't used to working out of house.
Also, another fish in the fire, if you will. Whoever was presumably here and killed these people may have gotten away with the data that they were using.
Yeah.
Possible, but it's sloppy work if they've already ended the experiment.
Exactly. This is, I concur.
So let's go off to engineering.
Yeah, scan the rest of the ship.
What is the med
Doctor?
bay?
What was that?
Is the med bay where they conducted their experimentation, or is there a listing for a laboratory that we might be able to suss out what exactly they were making?
There, as far as you could tell, there's no lab on this planet. It's most likely done in the sick bay.
Wait a minute. Why couldn't we detect that Romulan if he was only Jem'Hadar? If he only had Jem'Hadar DNA?
I told you. I literally told you when she
What
rolled
was
him
it?
over.
He's part cloaked.
Oh, okay.
Hi.
I just read that as a cool description. All right, I didn't know that would like deflect our sensors.
No,
Interesting.
Jem'Hadars cannot be detected by scans when they're cloaked.
Oh,
Yeah, that's why there's
that's
like
cool.
that's why it was such a big issue in DS9.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. But I never knew that.
So, Josie, you said something about sick bay, and I think Lex, you wanted to go to engineering. So,
Yeah.
is that where y'all headed?
We can circle back. We can circle back around to medical after engineering.
Okay.
Sure.
When you get to engineering, you don't detect much of anything as far as, I mean, you detect the typical Klingon or Romulan corpse, but you don't detect any. You don't get any more answers than when you started. You do detect that the antimatter reactor that normally keeps everything powered is probably less than half an hour away from giving, and then a total meltdown will occur. So you probably want to speed things up a bit.
Okay. Is there anything that we can do to stabilize that and buy us some more time?
I mean, there would be if there was more things to find out on this rock, but there really isn't that much. I mean, you can spend time to do that if you want, but it's more or less a waste of time. But it's up to y'all. Y'all can do it if you want to.
Okay, we might as well get back to medical.
Yeah. Just scan the rest of the ship.
Yeah, whenever Volsky scans a body, and he'll scan everybody, whenever he finds one with any strange genetic drift or alteration, which I'm guessing is almost all of them, is it possible to put a little marker on them so it would be easy to beam them out for further study at a later date?
You could, yeah, but in 30 minutes the place is going to be a meltdown, so unless you do it within 30 minutes, unless you beam them out within that time. Also, I will tell you that only probably a quarter of the crew have been genetically altered. Most of the corpses are not genetically altered. They're just dead people.
Okay. All right.
So you guys heading back to
Yeah,
sick
let's...
bay?
Yep.
Alright. So you get back to sick bay. What do? You still have the mystery of all the dead people.
Okay. He's gonna look on the... He's gonna get the doctors and the scientists to look on the computers to see if there's any research on the computers.
Alright. Who wants to roll reason and security difficulty 4? This is an encoded audio message that the doctor left, the dead doctor. However, it is encrypted and has been... Basically, you could tell it was about to be sent somewhere, but he couldn't send it before he died. So it is a pretty high difficulty to unencrypt it.
I volunteer to do it unless somebody else has got a plan.
Security.
Well, yeah, but what I'll do is I'll use my did the reading talent to turn it from a reason security role into a reason science role.
Much better.
I have an appropriate foci.
Oh, okay. Sure.
That costs 1 momentum.
Alright. And difficulty is 4 unless you have something to reduce the difficulty.
If the difficulty is 4, I shall consume 2 momentum for the roll.
Okay.
Cool, go for it.
Wow, 2, 3,
That's
4,
5
5.
successes.
Yep. So you guys get however many momentum that is. There, I did make it so you guys can see the encrypted audio file, but I'll read it for you too. The project has been an abysmal failure. Besides myself and a few notable exceptions, the Romulans, Klingons, and Remans are proving to be incompatible for genetic integration. I have not been able to overcome their mental barriers. The Romulans' natural paranoia and latent telepathic traits inherited from their Vulcan ancestors, the Remans' empathic ability, and the Klingons' thirst for conflict and conquest have prevented most bonding experiments. I recommend we abandon the project altogether. For now, our plans to infiltrate the Breen Confederation will have to progress without, and then that's when it
There it is, confirmed. This was not just a mad scientist, this was the entire station, and was probably ordered by someone. So, what now?
Not
He's gonna get
ordered by anyone who would be part of the official station staff.
Yeah, but
Because
there
otherwise
was-
they wouldn't have murdered him. So this,
Yeah.
this guy was a plot.
But
basically
he was answering to
Lex,
someone, which is what scares me.
We know that this
Lex
is being
gets a
planned.
copy of that.
Yeah, I'm assuming you guys
Lex-
have a copy on your tricorder. It's fine. That's why I put handouts
Yeah.
out so you guys can look at it later.
So what do you say, Josie?
We know where it was, like, from what we understand, that it was, like, pretty much just a pre-written email, and
Yeah.
he didn't hit send.
Yeah, in fact, he
Mhm.
hadn't even finished recording it before he was murdered, presumably.
So we don't have an address that it's going to.
Nope, not yet.
The only
So we
lead
have
it seems we have is that ship.
Well, he was reporting in. So is there logs of other reports or other messages coming out of the station that we might be able to work an address for?
But they're more cryptid, you know, oh, the project's going well, or the project's failed. They don't directly mention, like, Klingon Romulan genetics and stuff like that. It's more, it's encrypted, number one, so I'll just say you're able to get into it with you know, your decryption ability, but for the most part, it's encrypted in a way that, you know, unless you knew what he was doing, you would just assume he's, you know, calling home to thank his mom for the soup. Like, it's very much encoded, like a normal Tal Shiar agent would probably do.
But we do know what he was doing, and therefore
Exactly.
we are paranoid. What's the, as Josie was pointing out, what's the
And-
receiver destination?
Like I said, he didn't get a chance to even finish recording it, so you don't know. However, considering everything you know about the Orion freighter heading to Mariposa Colony, probably there.
Yeah, no, I gather that, but I'm thinking about the other older messages he was sending out.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they were going to a combination of the Mariposa Colony and a couple other outposts in independent space.
Lieutenant Vosky, a major aspect of linguistics is trying to determine meaning from the words. Perhaps I could take a look at those messages and try to glean any further insights.
Of course. He steps back and gestures at the now unlocked records.
As she's doing that, Chima, we're just going to talk to the air, no in particular, and just kind of... It seems as if he was reporting to someone in code for a very long time, and then was maybe under the threat of death, or the station was going haywire, and put his last message in without the code. Very interesting.
Basically, with Lex, he is a Tal Shiar agent, so basically everything's running into his, like, head.
Yeah.
So,
Let's get everything...
with our limited time, is there a way to take a USB or the equivalent of copying these files, or are the files kind of solid state in the computer?
I mean, if you want to spend a momentum, like I said, I put the handouts there so that you guys can have access to it. But if you want to spend a momentum to say that you have more additional reports and logs, that's
Yes.
fine. I'm not going to
Yes.
spend my time writing them up, though. Normally
Alright,
I would.
have the files.
All right, normally I would, but with all the games around, I don't really have time for it anymore. All right, so what's next?
He's guessing we got 17 minutes, and He's gonna go to the shipping yard if we can make it in time.
You mean the
Depending
hangar
on-
bay?
Hangar Bay.
Because you guys beamed there, so... I mean, are you trying to leave, or
Yeah.
are you just trying to investigate where the other ships are?
Investigate the other ships.
Okay. You don't... I mean, you find the occasional Romulan or Klingon shuttle, but other than that, you don't find anything.
Okay. Nothing out of the ordinary?
Nope. That'll mean a couple dead people,
Okay.
probably.
So no missing shuttle or anything like that?
I mean, there's a couple missing escape pods and maybe a few missing shuttles from people that have left before all this went down, but there's no way to really tell. I mean, you could follow the ion trail to an extent towards Klingon or Romulan space, and then you lose it, so...
Okay, we got nothing else to do, so we might as well beam back.
Yeah, beam with the interesting genetic tag bodies.
Alright.
Yeah.
They get beamed separately. But they do get beamed.
So, if y'all guys are done on the station, I want to get to Dr. Engstrom real quick, because Dr. Engstrom was investigating somebody. I think it was the Jem'Hadar Romulan guy. Is there
Trying
any...
to save his life.
Yeah, go ahead and roll. I mean, it's going to be max difficulty, but it'll be funny if you manage to do it, and then I have to write him into the story next week, or the weekend. So, difficulty 5, complication range 5, reason and medicine, or control and medicine, either one, and, yeah. Whoever wants to roll for the ship can roll computers and medicine.
Determination.
I already used one, actually, so I really can't.
You can challenge a value, though.
I don't know. I don't know if any of them are really ones I can challenge at the moment, so...
Or you can challenge a directive if there's one that makes sense, but I don't think there is, because you got to protect the Romulans.
I don't really think so, no. No. We just want to watch me, fail at saving people. That's half of the Doctor's appeal. But...
That's a different Doctor.
Since we have 4 momentum, I could try and steal some of that.
And just so you know, at the end of the game, all the momentum's being reset to 0, so you might as well use as much as you possibly can.
She's basically like the Barkley of doctors.
Alright, I'll just go ahead and take 3 momentum to get 5 dice and see what we can do.
No, the Barkley of doctors is Bashir. He was committing so much medical malpractice.
I'm just checking to see if there's anything else. Okay, I don't have anything else I can use to help with that. Hey, look at that!
Wow. Oh, wow!
3, 4,
look
5,
at that.
6.
Engstrom 2.0 is the shit.
Yeah, this new yeah, it's the Orion genetics. I don't know. Yeah, so you managed somehow, beyond all scope of God and universe, to seal up this guy's chest and reinstate his organs so that they're not completely disappearing. And maybe you've got a Romulan on the ship, or a Vulcan, or a Klingon on the ship that can, you can get blood from, because I'm pretty sure those are the only species that can do it. And even though it doesn't make sense because Klingon blood's pink, but whatever. Oh wait, no, it was
organs. You can just say I stabilized him.
Yeah, and so he's alive, but it's like he's attached to a lot of equipment, and he's not going to be talking for a really long time. So, and he's probably going to stay unconscious for a while.
Yeah.
So.
Understandable.
Yeah.
She did it though.
Yeah, you did it though. So that's something.
Definitely going to get directly contributed to saving lives.
Oh yeah. Is there? How much momentum do y'all have left? 1.
Because I spent 3 for that. So we were down to 1, and then that was a difficulty 5 roll.
Does anyone want to use the 1 momentum to obtain information? I mean, even the Doctor, since you're the one who, Actually, I think you gained
1
the
extra
momentum.
So we gained 1.
So if you want to ask questions, you may. But I'm not going to tell you. I will tell you right now. I'm not. I made this character up on the fly because I forgot that the infirmary doors were open. So I probably won't answer too many questions about the character himself. But I will answer questions about like the genetic experiments themselves and everything surrounding them, basically. So if you have any questions about that, you can spend two momentum to obtain information.
Here's something that Vosky might do, in between sessions that might consume the momentum, and he'd have done it alive or dead, which is to take information from the unknown genetic material, and then, based on the genetic information that's present, attempt to reconstruct what that creature should be or look like. Is that something that would be possible?
Yes.
Ooh,
So
clever.
As you take this DNA and you run it through the computers and you try to reconstruct, what it is and all that good stuff, the first thing you detect is the DNA is in a constant state of flux. It seems to revert to a whole second species that you've never even heard of, and then a third species you've never even heard of, and then at some point it reverts to, let me grab another memory alpha page. What were they called? Well, I know the episode because it was a scary ass episode, so let me grab that. Let's see if I can find it. You do ultimately, finally find the DNA which is probably not the right word, but I don't care, the genetics or the, you find it. Hold on, let me just find the species name. And you're still not sure if this is like 100% the species that it originated from, because it was a species that has been detected before and has been, but it's probably, I would say it's the closest. There it is, finally at the very freaking end. It's the closest thing that you can. It would be like a cousin to the species. I'm posting it in the chat. The Solanogen-based life form from a subspace realm.
Oh no!
But then it changes from that species to like a whole other different species. But that's the one species that you can identify as, it's most likely they took the DNA from that species and then modified it to be able to kind of shift into other species. So basically they're getting closer and closer to being able to, for whatever reason, not only infect other species, but cause them to change into other species. So whatever that
And does
means.
this weird shifting bear any resemblance to the shifting realities from the quantum device, or is it a completely different form of shifting?
No, it's more of a natural base, like a shapeshifter shifts.
Something like the shapeshifters from the Founders.
Yeah, but probably not. It's definitely not them though. They're definitely well known to the Federation and Starfleet science. This is more like a whole completely alien life form that somehow these scientists have encountered and is now using their DNA to, which again, they're cousins to the I don't know how to say that word, but to those life forms, and basically use it in this one Romulan. And it's only this one Romulan that you detected it in. Definitely experimentation is the word to use in this case. Kind of like, see what happens. Does anyone else have any questions? So yeah, I think that leaves you with one momentum left.
I mean, I think out of game we already know the answer for all this, but in game Engstrom is kind of curious about. So these people have had some genetic manipulation and they're presumably less stable. But I woke up with some genetic changes and I'm completely fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I know like Colonel Lex has said something. She's like, well, what? Like, she doesn't have these memories that Colonel Lex has. So, I mean, out of game, we who played last game know exactly why. But in game, Engstrom is just like, yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, and Colonel Lex has not said anything about it, which is odd. But we could say that your character, Dr. Engstrom, by the time the next episode comes around, she'll be having the same kind of dreams and visions, waking visions and hallucinations, and she'll start to see the same memories that of her predecessor, so to speak. So maybe by the end of that mission, she'll have all her memories. As far as the difference in genetic experimentation and quantum splicing, or whatever you want to call it, those are two completely different things. So they're definitely not related.
Okay, yeah, so it sounds like she'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Over the
Being a
between
doctor,
episodes.
yeah, she'll definitely figure that out.
She'll be
Basically-
maybe peeking over Vosky's shoulder while he's working in the lab. Like,
Basically, the Lex has been thinking about that teenage kid who has been looking familiar. Then he would finally
kind of.
realize where he acted.
He'll realize.
Then
what?
he'll finally realize. Then he'll finally realize he saw him in the other universe.
Did he though?
He was sitting in the command chair. No, he saw a look like him in the other universe.
Well, I don't think I used that picture in the other universe, so you'll have to remind me as the GM who you're talking about.
A drone clone?
Oh yeah, he definitely looks like a younger Drink Club for sure.
Yeah. You'd be like, huh, a younger version of him.
Which is probably the first
Where?
time. Well, maybe not the first time, but
Definitely. Yeah. So, does anyone else have anything before we end and we get into reputation and milestones and all that good stuff?